Am I anime enough? Am I kawaii enough now that I'm sitting here having like a nice cute, wait, you cannot even see it. 80s anime style. This is nostalgia, baby. Hi. Video essay about culture preservation. Here is what the AI wrote for this pitch. It is crucial to recognize the impact that a bad remake can have on children's lives. When a beloved piece of culture is remade poorly, it can tarnish the memories and experiences that children have with the original. This can lead to the loss of appreciation for the original work and a missed opportunity for cultural preservation. You know what? That word doesn't matter. In order to preserve culture and ensure that future generations can enjoy and learn from it, it is important to approach remakes with care and respect. By staying true to the essence of the original work and maintaining its integrity, we can create remakes that not only honor the past but also inspire and engage new audiences. Honestly, this is horseshit. This is stupid. I want remakes to be done to be their own new cultural thing, and I want the old piece to also be available. That is what makes a good remake, is if you're creating new content, if you're actually making new love, if you're creating something that's really, really good, and people will seek out the original, compare them side by side, and have like versions that they like more. Maybe they like the old stuff more, maybe they like the new stuff more. AI is not writing my scripts, okay? I started this kind of like as a joke and being like, oh, okay, Notion has this AI function. I wonder how much, I will be able to use this. And it's shit. Part 1. Miss Frizzle's redesign is homophobic. Fantastic read, by the way, that I'm going to push up here. Comparing the old Miss Frizzle design to the new one. Now, let's try and think like the big man who owned the rights to an old kids cartoon show. Actually, let me get my hat. From paperboy to business capitalist. Now, let's try and think like the big businessman who owned the rights to an old kids cartoon show. You want to make money? Lots of money? And this old show will be how we are printing it. Kids shows allow for toy and merch tie-ins, books and apps designed to teach kids something. Learning is in general a good selling point because all parents want is for someone else to do it for them. They are willing to pay if it earns them a badge at good parent get-togethers, and they don't have to lift a finger. Plus, many will be overworked and stressed out anyway, and not check for the quality of your product that closely. And the kids don't have any comparison to available. The bar could not be lower. Now, the old cartoon is an old cartoon aspect ratio, which will look bad on modern TVs, as well as the resolution. And we are businessmen. We want the parents to know we have new toys and books in stock. If we did just re-air the old cartoons, they might not understand. There are new toys, so we gotta redo the show. Also, for legal reasons, companies hold stronger hold of their IPs if they are using them, creating new content, so to speak. So, good on us! Now, if we redesign the show for a new audience, we can make it easier to reproduce, streamline the faces, the bodies, the art style. If you are not an artist, you might still know that some styles are easier to reproduce than others. Less details, using digital media instead of old-hand animation, more shortcuts in the production as well. Heck, it would be good if each frame of the cartoon show can be used for merch. For that reason alone, vector graphic and puppetry is preferred. Felt so slimy. Let's return to regular old moon. There are so many different ways you can shortcut and min-max your old cartoon show. There are so many different ways you can shortcut and min-max your old cartoon show intellectual property. We are creating aesthetic cleanliness for easier marketability, less interesting, not iconic, and not long-lasting. But as long as we can make it that cash, who cares for quality, right? This sucks. This sucks so much. Because kids deserve good shows. Everyone does.
So moving on, judging from a large portion of the products out there, another assumption that seems to underpin commercial attitudes towards musical education is that quality doesn't really matter because babies don't know any better. I've already mentioned those toys with cheap squawking speakers, but what about nursery rhyme channels on YouTube? Be selective about the stuff that's branded for kids. A lot of the time it's just incredibly low quality garbage made by complacent amateurs looking to make a bit of money.
We really had some bad years for content. The quality of all stories had floored. Movies are getting franchised and put into multiverse madness, not because anyone is excited to tell a multiverse story, but because it sells. The next movie might sell even better. The second most visited website is YouTube. and it's where most kids spend their time. The creators there don't even call their chosen creation videos, but content. Like, they are making content to fill a website, something that you can put into an HTML div format. React content, compilations, a slush of the washed out stuff. I'm trying not to curse too much. And there are good creators on every platform and every media, otherwise the vultures wouldn't have people to steal from. But dedicating your time and money to good art is just not something that people do anymore. I hate AI bros, not because the AI is unconvincing or because they are stealing my hobby, but because they don't care for their creations at all. Why make a movie? Why make a kids' cartoon show?
That these things were made out of passion. That's the only reason you would ever do this. There's no fucking reason to get into anime for the money. If you treat anime like a business, you are missing the fucking point. Because yes, you can turn a profitable show every once in a while if you roll the dice enough times, but you can also just, go into a fucking industry that makes sense if you just want to work.
Why can you not go into an industry that makes sense if you want to make money? Leave the art for the artists that actually want to create stuff. That shouldn't be so hard to do. Part 2. What is culture? Before the 2020s hit, I was kind of super excited for this decade. You know what the 1920s were? The beginning of keeping records of music. We now have 100 years of music record that you can listen to. I thought that chart shows and music lovers all over the globe would do their best 100 years of music festivals comparing human culture over 100 years. It was always my dream. What if your favorite type of music, your favorite band, was some 40s garage band from Ireland? A small group only made music for 10 years till they all moved away from each other. How good are your odds of finding that out? There is so much lost media. Not just that show that you watched as a kid and didn't get a DVD release and was never bought by a streaming service. Not only the books destroyed in the files of Alexandria, but everything in between that. Great works of art who didn't find the right audience at the time and which might have fans today, and mediocre art that had fans but didn't get recorded, and really bad art that has also been lost to time. But you would have a great time capsule to understanding our ancestors' taste and stories. There is a great video essay by Dan Olson of the YouTube channel Folding Ideas, where he documents a bad PS1 adaptation of Five Goes to America. It's one of my all-time favorites. When we talk about retro games, when we talk about video game history, as a non-gamer, I always hear the same names of games people have played that have through time become cult classics and that people just love. Some get revivals, like the Final Fantasy ones get remade, and the Spyro ones too. I like those games. Here's footage of me sucking at playing a kid's game. And I think we need to talk a lot more about the other art. Not just great art, not just bad art. Preserving media is preserving culture. Gen X and millennials grew up on this, but technology is moving forward. Old games are breaking down as we speak. A lot of stuff will break without us noticing. Maybe in 40 years, a kid will be born who would have loved the Pokemon Red and Blue editions as they were released back in the 90s. And they will never find out. Don't we owe it to that kid to preserve these games? I'm not a great artist. I don't mean that in the self-deprecating way. I love my art and I love creating it. And all of my stories are fun to me to think about and write down. But it's not that I have one big statement, one story, one purpose that I want to outlive me. I create each piece as this would be cool to work on next. And this is a way that a lot of people create. I wonder how many books, movies or games or music albums have created in the past that I would have loved so much if I had only ever had the chance of getting to experience it.
Isn't it? And it's so terrifying to think that it took 5 years for this game to really start getting some serious traction.
Yeah, for sure.
To think about how many amazing gems out there have just been lost.
Oh,
and that we will never ever hear about.
I feel especially in the RPG Maker world
Dude,
as well.
Yeah,
there's probably so many games.
You have to imagine there are games out there that would have done like what Undertale did that we just don't even know about.
Yeah, that just no one's ever played, or
Video
5 people have
games.
played.
Yeah.
Part 3. Who was that artist? Caravaggio is one of these painters that has fans, and he straight up murdered someone. The way he depicts death is almost funny, how not spectacular it is. As someone who only slaughtered a chicken, yeah, life just ends, and you have some gross meat that you gotta prepare for dinner. If you talk about Caravaggio's paintings, the way he painted Judith beheading Holofernes, it is so different from the way Gentileschi painted the same scene. She was also not a murderer, but a rape victim. See, what an artist experiences will influence their work. Sometimes I look at a pretty picture and that is all I need from it. But sometimes there's a story that comes from the artist's life. Torres made an art piece which is just candy pies. Why is this impactful and made me cry?
And if you think a work of art should tell you everything you need to know without the help of wall labels or the like, then I'm probably not going to convince you otherwise. But for me, whether it's the Mona Lisa, a landscape painting in a thrift shop, or an iPhone, every object is created within circumstances that are important and is distributed in ways that add to its meaning. But if you think about Felix Gonzalez Torres, it was made by Felix Gonzalez Torres, who was openly gay and who made the work after his partner Ross was diagnosed with AIDS. Gonzalez Torres's work was overtly and strategically political, and this lovely and heartbreaking work is unquestionably made more resonant when you know that his partner died in 1991 and he died in 1996. It's because we're not quite done with him yet. Many of his works depend on reproducibility, stacks of paper or piles of candy viewers are invited to take. He wanted his work to spread and to be in multiple places at the same time, and to be created in participation with you, the viewer. With this work, it's not that you could do it, it's that he wants you to.
I am part of the queer LGBT crowd, so hearing stories about how society failed people similar to me will always impact me different from a person who isn't in that group. I will always cry at the Two Perfect Lovers. I will cry at the mention of the AIDS crisis. Because not only does an artist's life color how he depicts and creates art, and can create art, but it will impact if you can even understand them. There was an artist born who was never successful in his lifetime, who ate yellow paint, and who only started painting in his 30s. He painted sunflowers and the night sky. He painted his doctor. The reason you love Vincent van Gogh is partly the art that we still have. It's his great skill, but it's also the humanity that you know of. It is more impactful when you struggle with depression, when you are unsure of yourself. Will you ever achieve greatness? Will you be a burden to your family? Will you cut off your ear and gift it to a girl you like talking to and then find out she's a sex worker? People still read Shakespeare, and part of that is that he's the English language culture monolith. People would read his plays only because his name is on the cover and make a big fuss about how important he is for Western values. Study the greats, appreciate where our culture comes from. But really what you should do is read it and see if it's a good story for you. Do you understand why stuff is happening? Maybe you think it's boring, maybe you only like one or none of his plays, but lots of people still read it and think it's great, even today, by today's standards. What makes me cry is reaching out to an art piece and having that direct connection to a person, to something they created, because I care for humans. For meeting a person and letting that person tell me a story. Part 4. Rent is still a thing. Here's a tweet by @WritingOutlock on Twitter, which is just... I put it up. This one, it's well-meaning. I have a brother, Clemens. Hi. And he has the same opinion as many. If you love art, you will do it regardless of payment. Money isn't important. And for a lot of life, yes, that's true. I want to draw silly furry portraits. Drawing cats playing poker is actually pretty great, and I love it. I wish I could do it more. I wish I didn't have to ask for money for my art. If I could draw each day for 5-ish hours and just do requests for free on Twitch, that would be amazing. Or create exactly the stories and cool ideas I wanted to all my life. But I still have to pay rent. Everyone does. If we go so far as to say only create what you are passionate about, don't take money for art, then only rich kids won't be able to do it. Who would make anarchy and anti-establishment art if only the rich people can afford to make it? Think what you want about a Rothko painting. You can hate the artists that paint abstract art for the super rich, but those artists will take the money from rich people and buy again. That money re-enters the economy. Every dollar you spend on me, I will spend as well. And money that runs around faster generates a better economy than that which sits in investment property. It is not the artists in these scenarios that you're mad at. It is the super rich, the landlords, Jeff Bezos, tax evaders, scammers, preachers of cults, and the televisionized scam artists. My wish for the future is to build a social norm where everyone has a hobby in the arts. and billionaires don't exist. I really want everyone to like art, maybe paint, play an instrument, and not struggle with money. We don't live in that fantasy though. I have to ask people to pay me when I draw. It sucks. I would do this for free. I would, if you asked me to, draw the sexy anime girl with big titties for your sleep pillow and give her knee-high socks or whatever for free. If I didn't have to go to work every day, and it would be better that if I didn't, and I would do it for free if I didn't have to go to work every day. And it would be better than the AI generated junk, because you could talk to me and my human experience with what makes something sexy and your knowledge of what you personally find attractive would fit your interests the best. We could work together to create some amazing things. We need more people loving their work. We need people to not just put their little kids in front of an iPhone and let YouTube kids autoplay some nursing rhymes. You should care about the quality of the stars you give kids. You should care about the quality you are feeding yourself. I know you have favorite YouTubers. I know you have a favorite game or band, and it's not just about that one piece they created. You could info dump me stories about their life and the fan and the fanfic that you are writing. And it would honestly beat the last conversation I had to have with a very unfriendly bank about my money spending habits. I know you care about the human behind the art when it's your favorite artist, whatever art form that might be. Don't call it content, be specific, tell me about the last story that touched you. Part 5. And then archive that stuff. Yeah, we need to archive more art. Your favorite music band, go pirate that stuff. I'm dead serious. If you have old books, if you like certain things, if you just remembered an old cartoon that you have still on VHS, look up if you find it online. Look if any of your DVDs are looked for in lost media search. Yo ho ho ho, motherfucker, art is free and for everyone. Such a rose-colored glasses view of archiving stuff, right? Like, what if you archive too much? Are we just turning into digital hoarders or like physical hoarders? What if we need more and more copies of our favorite anime because this only comes in Japanese and German, but I want to share it with you guys, and this doesn't have an English version on it, right? Does that mean I need to like buy another set of DVDs? I want you to go and watch Jacob Geller's video about hoarding and archiving stuff, because I watched it while I was actually like finished with the script, and I was like watching stuff by the side while I was like starting to edit. So go and watch that, because it's like generally a very good script, a very good video.
A vinyl album, for as big and clunky as it is, will play the songs I enjoy as long as record players still have needles. Have you ever heard of Marion Stokes? It'd be understandable if not. As a young adult, she was an activist, librarian, producer of a local TV show. None of these are particularly notable. But in 1977, Marion Stokes started taping what was being shown on the news, and she simply did not stop. 24 hours a day, no breaks, no holidays. As cable news grew, so did the scale of her recording, capturing up to 8 channels at a time, still exclusively on VHS tapes. She did this for 35 years straight. The collection, 70,000 tapes long, ended only at her death December 14th, 2012.